Hi there, Colleen Adrian here. So today I'm going to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years that I've been doing healing work on myself with other practitioners. I'm going to share with you some of the things I've learned about how to choose what might be most helpful for you. And I'm going to share just what I've learned for myself, and you can take from it what may resonate with you or not. So it can be really hard, as you may know, to try to figure out what kind of modality do you want to use. Maybe you want to stop yelling at your kids so much, or maybe you want to get along better with your partner, or maybe you want to just get better at reducing the stress in your life overall, or responding differently to the stress. Or maybe you know that you want to do some healing work on some of your own past traumas. So, regardless of the reason for choosing to do some healing work on yourself, sometimes it can be hard to figure out like what is really going to get me the most benefit, and yeah, what's going to help me kind of get the results, or get the growth that I'm hoping for, help me move along in the direction that I want to move on my personal growth journey, or my soulful journey in this lifetime. So I'm going to share with you kind of three main things that I have done, or that I've learned, pardon me, about that have just helped me to know whether or not I'm on the right track. So, for instance, the first thing I'm going to share is that it's been really helpful for me personally to do things that help me to be more present in my body. Okay. So I was quite disconnected from my feelings in my younger years, and what that looked like was, having a hard time making decisions about things because I sometimes couldn't feel my feelings or access my feelings. If a friend said to me, gee, well, how would you feel if you did choice A? I'd go, yeah, I don't know, right? So disconnection from some of my feelings and the sensations in my body that were indicators of those feelings. And that's reflective of having functional freeze in my body. So and I won't talk about that a lot more. I'll actually make another video about that at some point. If you have some specific questions about that, please pop them in down below. But the functional freeze, in a nutshell, it's having some freeze response stuck in your body from earlier experiences in life, often in childhood, but still being able to function. So instead of like a full-on freeze response where you're collapsed, you're still actually able to function in everyday life. So I had a lot of that going on in my body earlier in my adult years, and I still work on it, of course, but I've worked through a lot of it and processed a lot of it. So back to the topic, things that help me to be able to feel my body and feel my sensations have really helped me to be able to make the decisions that support the goals that I have in life, or the kind of life that I want to have, and the relationships and so on. So it's been super helpful. The physical body is the place where we feel our sensations, and that's how we get our intuitive knowledge, right? So being able to access that information um, from our sensations is what helps us to be able to get access to our intuitive knowing, and to live a more heart-centered life, and to live an authentic life. So it's important from that perspective. And I could say from a personal perspective that yeah, for me, it feels like life is more meaningful. And one of the things that has helped me personally, and it may or may not be the same for you, is acupuncture. So acupuncture was probably one of the first things in the mid 90s. So that's like 30 years ago now, that really helped me to be able to feel sensations when I hadn't been able to feel very many of them in the past. And I can still remember after my very first acupuncture treatment, you know, I had often had knots in my stomach, and that was just kind of the norm for me. I didn't really realize that it was related to anything. And when after I had my first acupuncture appointment, I actually recognized that that sensation that I was having in my gut was related to some anxiety and also some anger. And I had no idea that that was there and that I was holding it there. So that was real growth and increased awareness for me. Um, Physical body work has always been really helpful for me. Massage, fascia work. I do quite a lot of fascia work these days. And again, for me, it's like the pressure or the containment of actually having somebody put pressure on my body just brings me back. So instead of being, spinning in my thinking head about something, really brings me back into being more present in my body. And of course, with regard to nervous system regulation, the more it's like a muscle, right? So the more you have the opportunity or you notice that you're present in your body, the more you actually learn to stay present or go back to being present more easily when you catch yourself, either just spinning in your head a lot and thinking, or even dissociating a little bit in a very stressful situation, which we all do sometimes, right? The last thing that I want to say about this first piece about being connected to my physical body is that somatic therapy has been something that's really helped me to stay connected with those feelings. So um, often when we have experiences where we dissociate a little bit or we disconnect or there's some freeze in our system, there's good reason, there's a pattern there because we disconnected from those feelings at some point because they were just too big or too intense for us to be able to tolerate, right? So we disconnected a little bit in order to survive. But once we build some capacity to be able to stay present with those feelings, and that's what somatic therapy has helped me with, we can gain more capacity to stay present, even when we're faced with more intense emotions, or like when we're feeling them in our body, we've got uncomfortable feelings in our body, or we're facing difficult and intense, stressful situations. We just gain more capacity to either stay grounded and present during those situations, or to come back to that place a little bit more easily, even if we slip away, which again is really normal, right? I want to make it really clear here that nobody is ever completely regulated all the time, right? We all go in and out of being regulated. And the practice is to be able to recognize when we're regulated or when we're slipping out of regulation, and have some tools in our toolbox for getting ourselves back. And the last thing I want to say in this section is that if you, for instance, you're listening to this and you think, well, I've always been fairly connected to my body and my feelings, there might be a different kind of a support that you find most helpful. Excuse me. Maybe you'll be drawn more to using an energetic modality such as Reiki, or maybe EFT really helps you. This isn't me saying that these things that I've done are necessarily the best things for you to do. It's recognizing what it is that helps you the most. Whether it's something to help you connect more to your spirituality, or whether it's something to help you connect more to your physical body. And for me, being more connected to my physical body has been critical. I really encourage you to follow what feels right for you, and it'll be a different path from what's been right for me, probably. And maybe not, but probably. So secondly, I think that treatments of any kind that bring a profound sense of ease instantly, sometimes they don't seem to last, and I crash a couple of days later. And that's been my experience. And what I learned after I learned about nervous system regulation, which wasn't until 2017, I'm now able to look back and realize that sometimes I was engaging in treatments with practitioners who were very good, right? And were doing very good work. But I didn't know enough about my own system to know kind of when it was enough. And if there was too much opening, I wasn't able to I wasn't able to go back into my everyday life and tolerate what was coming at me without kind of closing down and crashing again. So I hope that's clear. I don't know any other way to describe it, but it felt like a real roller coaster effect in that sorry about my phone notifications there. It felt like a real roller coaster effect where it was, I felt really, really great and then really, really bad, right? So what I learned from that is that um, treatments that bring more subtle change um, often treatments that bring more subtle change often are most supportive in the long run. And I see that now as I do somatic therapy with clients of my own as well. I see that the little subtle changes where it doesn't feel like there's been that big of a transformation in the actual session, but clients go away and they come back and they say, wow, like I really did notice a difference in my everyday life. I was able to stay more calm with my child, or I was able to do this, or I was able to do that. And it wasn't like that before. So again, the subtle changes, the little baby steps, seem to, in many cases, especially if you have some early childhood trauma and there's some shakiness in that foundation, that very foundational nervous system wiring in your system, um, the little subtle baby steps and changes seem to be the most effective for making progress over the long run without kind of having a crash 2 or 3 or 4 days after your healing session. So again, don't take my word for it. I invite you to just reflect on the healing work that you might have already done and how you feel afterwards and how it lasts and what happens. And choose what feels best for you. Choose what kind of helps you keep inching forward instead of more of that roller coaster feeling. And again, for me, it's been somatic therapy that's really helped me to gain some awareness of my body and my inner landscape and the feelings that I'm having inside of my body, so that I can actually give some helpful feedback to the practitioners that I'm working with, and make sure that the work that we're doing together isn't too much for my system, and that I'm going to be able to tolerate it and integrate it so that I can kind of keep moving forward instead of having those crashes. Yeah, and I'm just looking at my notes here. The somatic therapy has also really helped me to build some capacity, so I have more tolerance to handle stressful situations or big emotions when I'm feeling them in my body, and stay present with them. So thirdly and lastly, it's always best to follow your own gut feelings for whatever you feel drawn to. And this has served me really well over the years, and I again encourage you to do the same thing. Um, Often when it's time to make a change in what I'm doing, or what kind of a treatment I'm thinking, oh, I need to do something new, but I'm not sure what. Often I'll hear about something that I haven't heard about before, just kind of when it's in the back of my mind. And it might be over a 3 or 6 month period even, that I just hear about, oh, this modality, it comes up in conversation, or I read about it, or it pops up online somewhere. And maybe and often I notice, if I read a little bit about it or learn a little bit about it, I often know almost right away whether or not I feel drawn to it. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of interested, but I'm not really sure. I've got this other stuff going on right now. And then, I hear about it again in a month. And then 2 months later, I hear about it again. And I'm like, I am kind of interested in that. And my interest kind of grows, and then I check it out. Um, we all have lots in common as humans, and we need nervous system regulation. We need connection. There's a whole bunch of things that we all need collectively. But we all also have our individual life journey, and you can call it a soulful journey, or your karmic journey, or your life journey, whatever feels right for you. But regardless, I think it's important to realize that we all have some gifts and some things that we're here to learn as well, some life lessons that we're here to learn. And part of being able to fulfill that or feel like our life is meaningful and we're in the right place at the right time is by following what modalities we feel drawn to and are right for us. So my point in saying that is to again share with you, I've shared a few of the modalities that I've used in this video, but please don't take that as meaning that those would be the best for you. Check it out yourself, see what you feel drawn to. And really follow that. And as one last example, when I discovered nervous system regulation, which has been pivotal and really life-changing for me, it wasn't until 2017, and I'd already been writing about parenting for quite a while, and I'd already been trying to parent my son differently than I was parented and trying to change some family patterns. And there was a couple of things that I was still really stuck on, and I knew that something was missing and I didn't know what it was, right? I was always reading and I had my eyes open, but I really knew there was something missing and didn't know what it was. And as soon as I found a website on nervous system regulation, instantly I knew that that was what I was looking for. I totally knew that that was the missing link. That was the missing piece that was still keeping me stuck in some patterns that that I hadn't been able to change previously. So again, just reminding you that everybody does have that inner knowing and to trust yourself. So I hope that's been helpful. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions or comments or things you'd like to share about your experience with finding healing modalities, please pop them in down below. Thank you.